Well, the time has come to start doing some priming. So what I need to do is start cleaning some stuff up and masking. So I'm gonna have to mask up doors, windows, because we're gonna paint the door jambs. Side skirts will have to come off and see how we go after that. Finally, I can get back to some work on the car. My deliveries have come. I bought this paper machine thing and some paper, which happens to be the wrong size, but that's okay, I can use that. I've test masked a few pieces, so I'll continue masking up the door jambs, that back window, maybe the front and rear window, in preparation for some spraying. I also managed to find a new one of these to replace this melted one that I burnt out. So that it is now under the dash and installed. It just needs a bit of a clean up. And finally, the masking up is done. So doors, windows, all where windows are meant to be, bits that I don't want overspray on, masked up. So it's only blowing in primer in the door jambs. So wherever I don't want overspray is covered up. Now, if you ever want to be seriously annoyed, use this plastic stuff because it is a nightmare. As soon as you cut off what you want, you got your tape line, the plastic sticks to it, and it's no good. So I've probably thrown out more than what I could ever use because I just can't rip it off without the tape sticking, but I've managed to salvage some. So what I need to do now is go down and give everything a good clean and ready for priming. And I'll get that done right now. Well, I've had to end up doing a bit more masking, so I thought cover the wheels. You don't want to look in grey coloured wheels that just look ridiculous. And while cleaning, I realised I've got a mask underneath because I don't want overspray on the underneath of the car. So I've gone around and done that both sides, cleaned up everywhere. I've vacuumed underneath the car, around the car. And one thing that keeps bugging me is the whole shed is full of these things. I don't know what they are. I don't know where they come from, but when it's extra windy, they come in. So if anyone knows what they are, let me know so I can try and eliminate them from getting in here, because they're annoying and they're everywhere. So I'm going to give the car another clean down, and then we're ready to paint in the morning. And in the morning, we'll give it another clean, another vacuum on the floor, and then we'll get to spraying. Early next morning, and I've been at it, and the door jambs are primed. Now, my first time ever spraying with 2K, and I think it's come out pretty good. It does actually spray a little bit easier than acrylic. It's gone down a bit smoother than what it usually does, so that's a good thing. So that means less sanding. So both sides are done. I mixed up just enough for 2 coats each side, which worked out quite well. But having said that, these bits will need to be reprimed because they're not fully finished yet. But it's worked out quite well. Got a little issue there that needs to be sorted out. Don't know if you can see that. The light's not too good, but all in all, went well. I even got the sills done as well, and underneath without too much overspray anywhere. So I'm pretty happy with that effort. Now, it has got hardener in it, so it is touch dry already, but probably needs 4 hours to fully cure or something like that. So I will let that cure for probably even a little bit longer, and we'll have a look at what we need to do after that. Whether it be sanding or a bit of filling. It is high fill, so hopefully it does fill in a lot of the imperfections, but we'll have a gander in a few hours' time. Turns out the painting went so well, I'm going to prime the underside of the bonnet. Because why not, eh? Why not? The more painting practice we get, the better I'm going to get. So let me set up and get ready, and we'll paint this. Well. Again, that first coat went really well. I've never sprayed primer from a gun that's laid out that flat before. However, for the second coat, I fiddled with it and changed a bit, and it came out a bit rougher, so it's not as flat as I would have hoped, but it's got to be sanded back anyway. However, it appears I am learning, which is good. So that's 2 coats on there. We'll let that harden up and do some sanding in the door jambs, because I want to paint the black. Got satin black to paint that, so that is what is next on the cards. It's another week later, and I have sanded back both sides of the door jambs with 320. So it's smooth to the touch now. I am going to go over it again with 400. Couple of areas of, rub back through to the etch prime, but that's okay. So after one more rub back, the plan of attack is then remask it up. I think the problem I'm having is this tape's been on for a while now, and Melbourne's finally hit summer and it's quite warm, so it doesn't want to stick anymore, which means it's not good painting weather. But I've got a few things to do before then, so what I need to do is split the door jambs in half, because the top half needs to be masked, or the bottom half needs to be masked, the top half goes black, and then we need to mask the top half, paint the bottom section blue. Now, there's been a bit of come to light on the painting saga. Older brother, who is going to paint the car for me, turned out has got some health issues, so may not go ahead, so I'm going to give it a crack myself. Got some more hints and tips to help me with that. This primer on the bonnet that I did has turned out really well, so it gives me good confidence when doing the colour, but that needs to be sanded back. But before that, I need to flip it over, and I want to refill in these gaps, because the factory, whatever it's called, has all fallen out, so I want to get that so that the skin doesn't flex, so that'll hold that in place by putting a bead around in all of these sections. So the bonnet needs to be flipped over, done that, and then turned back over and sanded. And then when it's time to do the blue on here, I can do the blue on there at the same time and kill a couple of birds with one stone. And if that goes well, we'll rip the bumpers off, paint the side skirts, mask it up, and we'll prime this and start rubbing back for colour. Because that's the plan. I want this thing in colour soon. Let me keep sanding, and I'll get back to you shortly. So I've just been under the bonnet patching up or filling in those gaps so the sheet metal doesn't flap around. And I tell you, you know it's hot in the shed when by the time you've gone around all the gaps and you come back to clean it up with some thinners and it's already dry. That's how hot it is in here, and I am dripping with sweat. We'll flip the bonnet back over and we'll get to sanding on that and see how it looks. So it's the next day. I've flipped the bonnet back over the other way. Just been doing a little bit of cleaning up of some dags that were hanging down and a little bit of filler work on some little holes. But all in all, that has done exactly what I wanted it to do. If you just keep an eye on this one, this panel here used to be when I lifted the bonnet up, that would go down to the proper shape. And this is why I did it upside down. When you lift it up now, there's no movement in the skin. So that sealer is now holding the skin where it needs to be and not flopping around like crazy. Then I thought I'll start masking up for the blackouts on the tops of the door frames. And I tell you what, putting that tape on there, I've got the only photo I've got for reference is the center pillar, and the black line goes under these two little marks there. Trying to get that level going around the front side and the back side is nigh impossible. So that's about 4 or 5 pieces of tape just trying to get a straight line. If I had a laser, it would be a lot easier, but I don't. So I'm just using my eyeballs. And that line then kind of lines up with the bottom of the A-pillar. And if you come along, it kind of lines up with the bottom of there at the C-pillar. Now going across like that, that looks lower, but I'll double check that because, yeah, that don't look right. But that's where that goes. I need to work out where that goes and where that one goes because I don't remember. I've just done a quick check with masking tape, stuck it in the middle and then just adjusted each side till it went somewhere that was level, and that is level. So I guess that's where I'm going to mask off the back and the front, so it's pretty much a straight line in between, because I definitely know that's where the black line on the center pillar goes, and that's what I'm sticking with. That's all I got to say about that. After a lot of mucking around, the bottom half is masked up, ready to paint the blackouts, both sides. What a nightmare this plastic stuff is. I can't stand it. It's so frustrating. Takes 4 times as long as it should because you just can't get the plastic off the sticky bit. But I'm there. It'll be cleaned down before we paint tomorrow, and then we'll hit some black on it. Painting has begun. 3 coats on already, and it's looking pretty good. I'm very happy with it. It's come out a lot shinier and easier than I thought. I do have a couple of runs in the center pillar on both sides, but I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. It's come out super well. Very low orange peel, so it doesn't really need any work. Probably got enough paint in the gun for 1 more coat, so that'll make 4, which is probably too much, but that's okay. So I'll get that on, clean up and let this set. Now remember, it is satin, so it will dull off when it dries. It's the morning after and I've started unmasking while Rocky grabs some more stuff from the shed and eats it. However, paint is fantastic. The only problems I've had is got a little bit of bleeding through under the tape. Now, what I did was had a layer of tape and I put another layer of tape over the top, and it's gone through the middle layer and just run down in a few areas. But other than that, it's fantastic. It's so smooth. I can't believe it. I've never painted anything that smooth with a spray gun. Again, on this side, there's a little bit of run through. Like I had the tape line there, put another bit over it, it's gone in between. So that can all be sanded out before we do the color again. Lines are nice and crisp. Paint's really smooth. The only problem is, you know, I've got a run or two. There's a run there, and then on the other side it's about there. So I'll ask older brother how I deal with that. But if I can paint the bottom half and it turns out like the top half, I'm going to be so freaking stoked that I'll paint the whole car myself. But don't want to get ahead of myself. The next task is sand the bonnet, re-prime the bonnet, because then I want to get all this black sealer in primer. So then paint this blue. That'll be the big tester, painting that underneath in the inside here. So I'm going to paint all the bits that you're not going to see when the car's, you know, in resting position. If I stuff it up, it's easier to hide. But Rocky, stop grabbing everything out of the shed. Back in the shed, and we've got another summer storm. Anyway, if you ignore the rain, the bonnet has been re-primed and it had a light sand back. So there's just a wax and grease remover and a clean, and that's ready to shoot. Now I've just got to finish up masking up the body of the car, and then the door jambs are ready to go. So I'm getting close now, I'm getting pretty close. But it is stinking hot in here, and it's going to get more humid with this rain, so see you soon. All right, that's the first coat done. So it's only a light coat. Probably two more coats. It's looking bloody good. Look at the shine in those door jambs already. It's a bit of a pain getting under the rocker sill, but we'll manage with that. And then come around to the other side, which I did. First coat again only, looking magnificent. So I'll let that tack off for 5-10 minutes, and then I'll get into another coat. Bathurst 500's on today. Painting is done. I managed to get 3 coats on. I'm going to unmask, and then I'll explain what happened, how well it went, how well it didn't go. All right, I've taken a lot of the masking on the outside off. I still do want to unmask the doors and the windows because I need to remask that for primer later on down the track. How did it go? Bloody fantastic. I couldn't be happier with the job that I've done. For not being a painter, it's come out magnificent. When the sun's actually come through the window, it looks fantastic when the sun's on it. The blue and the black look magnificent. And the finish I've got on here, like especially the front pieces here, is like glass. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Now I did spend a lot of time sanding in here to probably between 400 and 600 on both sides. So the finish has come out better there. However, on the bonnet still looks good. Although when it came to sanding the bonnet after priming the second time, I only used a green Scotch Brite to sand it. And that kind of shows up in the finish. It's not as flat as I would like it, but it's under the bonnet and it's still got a shine to it, so I'm happy with that. That is 1,000 times better than I could do with acrylic. I will never use acrylic again. That is horrible stuff, that stuff. 2-pack or 2K or whatever you want to call it is the way to go. The best part about it is once you've done the colour, that's it. There's no going back over it with clear coat or any crap like that. Although, you know, it's not like a glass-like finish, it still feels like it. Like it's nice and thick. Like it's thick. Thick as thieves. On these parts, I did have a couple of issues due to my carelessness. I was doing something down here and I was looking at something. I think I was trying to get the plastic back on the wheel and I leaned in too far. Don't know if you can see it, but right there, it's hard to pick up. The peak of my hat hit it just after the second coat and left a mark in it. Third coat went on, almost covered it up. And then there was something similar along the sill. Carelessness again, trying to do under the rockers, which is damn hard. Flicked the hose, hit the front of the sill, made a mark. But again, the third coat's almost made it invisible. Not too worried about that because side skirt goes over that anyway, so you're never going to see that. And that one here, the door is shut. You're not going to see it. But the sun's not sitting on it. Just look at the shine on it. Camera doesn't do the satin justice, but that looks fantastic as well. And then when the sun's on it, the black and the blue looks magnificent. The other side, I think I may have accidentally knocked the hose into it at one stage, but this side quite not as glass finish as the other one, although still looks magnificent. If you look at that in the sun, the black and the blue looks magnificent. And the shine down in that corner there, man oh man. Mid-lines look pretty good too, eh? Pretty crisp. Pretty crisp. So, all in all, the painting went really well, which gives me a big confidence to have a crack at painting the whole car. Seeing that my brother is not well. Saw him last weekend and now that you know, you can see it. So I don't want to burden him with the pressure of coming and painting this for me. And I'll just give it a crack myself. If worse comes to worse, if the finish on the body comes out like this, I'll get him to cut it back and buff it and that'll flatten it out. And there you have it. That is my first crack at painting 2K and it went extremely well. And yes, this is the hat that hit the other side door jamb. It's got a blue mark there and my face is pretty blue as well. Like I've got, the kids are calling me Bluebeard. Like through the mask, he's just painted my face. Bit of blue around the schnozzle. But I can live with that if the job comes out like that. So where to from here? Well, there's a lot of priming to do, so I'll get priming on parts. Might do some of the body kit, see how that goes. Need to prime the roof, the rear quarters, and redo the guards and the doors again, I guess. So it's this nice, thick, lovely, hard coating instead of that crappy acrylic crap. But that will just be a light sand and reshoot, so not too bad. So I'm going to continue to unmask because when remasking the body, I want that to be on the inside of the windows, not the outside, so we can get the paint everywhere I need it to be. But the key is preparation. If I can get the preparation right and sand back the primer till that's something similar to what I did in the door jambs, this paint's going to look fantastic. And the best bit about this painting that I did, because don't get me wrong, this garage is filthy and the amount of dust and crap in here is ridiculous. I don't know how I did it, but I've got no trash in the bonnet. And from what I can see, there's nothing on the door jambs either. I don't know how I managed to do that. So that gives me high hopes of when the roof gets at least painted, should get no crap, very minimal crap in there. But that came down to preparation. The preparation I did was schmicko. I've never done preparation like that before. I was vacuuming, wax and grease multiple times, vacuuming the parts before the wax and grease. I was even, trying to blow any residue of dust that might be there at all. Just trying to slightly blow it off with the air gun, trying to minimize any dust that was in the air at all. Unfortunately, painting is going to take me a lot longer than I'd like. So videos are probably going to be slower to come out. So hopefully you can bear with me, and I'll get this thing painted before you know it. And then we'll get it all back together and it'll be schmicko and done. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.